So cheesy. It doesn't matter what I ate last night, doesn't matter what you ate last night, still need to eat breakfast. So I have a little bit of time before I go to volunteering, and I want to talk about socializing and recovery, because I feel like my attitude towards socializing has changed hugely through going from when I was in my eating disorder until now, like 1.5, almost 2 years into recovery. And I've always been a very introverted person. My preference throughout my life has pretty much been, if I have an option, I'd prefer to stay home rather than go out. A few exceptions to that, but yeah, for the majority of my life, that's how I've felt. And definitely during my eating disorder, I isolated myself hugely. I don't think I'm alone in doing that. Pardon the pun. Even though I hated being with my own thoughts because they would just berate me all the time, I didn't want to socialize with people because that just sparked so much fear in me. It posed too much of a risk. What if my friends wanted to meet up and then go out to dinner? What if someone offered me food? What if something happened that would require me to eat food that wasn't part of anorexia's plan? And so I would pretty much only meet friends if I had to, and if they were happy to join me on going for a walk. Socializing was basically an inconvenience to me at that time, which is horrible to say, but it was an interruption to my exercise routine. Yeah, socializing was basically an inconvenience. It was a hassle, it didn't feel that good, it caused a lot of worry, it interrupted my exercise routine, and at the time, honestly, I did not care that much because all I was thinking about was calories and workouts and all that kind of boring crap. But of course, that lifestyle was unsustainable, and well, that's a very sort of lukewarm way to put it. Living with anorexia is absolutely horrible, and eventually I realized that I did want to recover, and I began the process of recovery. Even then, in those initial stages, I didn't want to socialize, or even if I was yearning human connection and contact, I felt so bloated, I felt so uncomfortable, I felt really distressed, I didn't have any energy. Every ounce of energy that I had was taken up with trying to get myself to eat every meal, every snack, day after day, and that went on for several months. Nutritional rehabilitation is exhausting, and I don't think we can underestimate the toll that takes mentally and physically when you're recovering from months or years of restriction. But there did come a point when I wanted to see friends. I was hesitant because I had gained weight. I was worried what people were going to say, if they would comment. Most of my friends, if not all at that point, did not know that I was going through the process of eating disorder recovery. So as well as going out with friends and being scared of the food, I was also a bit scared of what questions they were going to ask me and if I would feel comfortable to share what I was actually doing with my life, because I was not working really at that time. I was full-time in recovery. In those early stages, I really did have to push myself out the door. I remember meeting a friend for lunch and scouring the menu beforehand, fretting over what I would choose, what she would choose, if I would choose something that was appropriate. I remember meeting my friend for pizza and spending the day beforehand absolutely panicking, crying, so frightened, so anxious, thinking about how I could get out of it. I even messaged her and said, hey, I have a headache today, I might not be able to make it, but you know what, I did it, I pushed myself and I did it. And yeah, at the time, honestly, I couldn't focus on the conversation at all. Probably wasn't much fun for her because all I was thinking about was the calories in the pizza and how much guilt I was going to feel afterwards. And I did feel guilty afterwards. But now, looking at the long term, I am glad that I did it. And every time that I went out, and almost every time that I went out and met friends, I'm glad that I pushed myself to do that, because you have to face your fears in order to get over them. And being able to eat out with friends and enjoy it was always a recovery goal for me, but I was never going to get to a place of enjoying it unless I actually started somewhere and pushed myself to do it. And I also knew that logically, friendships, connections, relationships, they're so important. I do a lot of volunteer work which is all based around the importance of meaningful connections, particularly for elderly people who might be feeling lonely. And so I know how beneficial friendships are to our happiness. And as much as I liked to believe, and still sometimes like to believe, that I'm very independent and don't need other people, that's just not true. Having said all this about my experience with socializing during my eating disorder and in the early stages of recovery, I have noticed a shift recently. While previously I dreaded every social event, every single one, not even kidding, now I enjoy them again. Or I'm not even sure if it's an again, because I've had an eating disorder for so long and I sort of just thought it was part of my personality that I wasn't someone who liked socializing. But actually, I do enjoy it. I like meeting new people, making friends, going out for dinner. Almost every week I go out to happy hour with my colleagues at university. I meet friends once or twice a week for coffee. My preference on a Friday or a Saturday night or both is to go out and get a meal out with a friend or my boyfriend, which is really crazy because I don't know if I've ever felt like that before. I now finally have the energy to go out and socialize. I'm not so consumed by thoughts of food and weight and exercise. I'm not so afraid of the food or the drinks either. Last night I went out for Italian food with my boyfriend to this fancy place, and if you've been watching my videos for a while, you'll know that Italian food was a big sort of scary thing for me, but you know, it's not so bad anymore. I do want to say I don't think you, in those early stages of recovery, the priority is not socializing. The priority is nutritional rehabilitation. And I did take a step back from seeing friends. For a couple of months, I didn't see anyone aside from my immediate family. And I think that's okay too. You have to prioritize what's best for your recovery. And just know that as you gain weight, as you progress through recovery, your inclination to socialize and desire to meet people will most likely return. So even though now I still do think of myself as very introverted and I definitely need time to recharge, now the balance for me is working out how much to socialize versus how much recharge time I need, because it is a fine balance. But I guess I just want to say that probably one of the biggest joys for me in recovery is discovering who I am without my eating disorder. And much to my surprise, I do like socializing, and actually the more that I get to know myself without my eating disorder, the more that I like who I'm becoming, which is absolutely the opposite to what my eating disorder would have told me. Well, I just wanted to share a bit about my experience around socializing in recovery, and I'm going out again tonight. I'm going to play golf, mini golf, and get dinner, and I'm looking forward to that. Now I have to go do some volunteering, but I hope that you are doing well. I hope that you are continuing to challenge yourself in recovery, and lots of love to you. I'll record again soon. Bye.